HOA yells at me for training guide dog and grilling, then loses position on board. Posted by Judas697734. To start the story, some background you need to know about me. I volunteer to train and race service dogs. My fiance says clearly I have a look that says I am weak and a pushover. I have constant encounters with Karens, who are just not ready for my responses when they engage me. I've been in the military for 17 years when this happened, and I was responsible for managing over 130 service members. I'm anything but a pushover. I work with civilians, so I have cultivated a polite exterior because I was counseled for looking unapproachable and scary to civilian counterparts. The story, as I said, I raise service animals, so I fall under the ADA when it comes to regulations on where and what I can do with my puppy. We'll call him O. O is an amazingly behaved black lab of 6 months. I've cultivated a level of trust and obedience where I can leave him in a sit with other dogs around so long as I am in eyesight. He will stay. I have raised a few pups by then, and I would never have done that with them, but O is amazing, and I can't wait to get him back after his tour of duty, helping Mrs. C be independent. I meet the HOA Karen one Saturday. Me, my fiance, and O were going to head on a road trip to visit my fiance's parents. In our preparation, the last on the list is always getting the kids to use the bathroom before a long trip. So we head out, but O gets busy and I grab a bag to clean it up. I put him in a sit stay and hand the leash to my girl, and I start walking to the trash can. It's about 100 feet from where he went. I have a clear line of sight to the dog, and he is sitting pretty and alert and watching me intently for a hand cue or voice command. As I am walking, I hear a womanly screech. I don't quite make it out, but it sounds angry. I ignore it and keep walking to the dumpster deposit with my waste bag, and I turn around to head back to my 2 favorite people. It is then I make eye contact with the HOA Karen. Karen from here on out. She's your typical Karen, not an inch over 5 feet, and has the same circumference. The short chopped hair that says, "I'm the manager now." She looks me in the eyes, and I finally listen to her shrill scream of, "Your dog must be on a leash and in your hand. My county state law says so. I will call the cops." Now, I don't do ignorant, and respect given is respect earned. I was willing to try and de-escalate. My fiance owns the condo and is super non-confrontational. So for her, I tried to bring it back down to civil levels of discussion. In a polite but firm voice, I asked if she even looked over at the dog before she started yelling at me. She just bellows like a banshee again, and I repeat. This back and forth happens 3 or 4 times. Me, calm, her escalating in pitch and volume. At this point, she hasn't given respect, so none is required to be given back. I break out my "you done messed up" NCO to junior voice. It is loud, firm, and clearly states that I'm done with your BS, lady. I clearly tell her if she would have taken 2 seconds to look, she would see the dog is sitting on a leash in someone's hands. She stops bellowing at me, looks, and turns a bit red in the face, and then mustered, "You could just say, thank you," which I curtly reply, "Shut the F up and get out of my face." She waddled quickly off, tail tucked into the condo door. My next meeting with her was when I was grilling. The HOA states no charcoal grills and no smoking or barbecue. I was born in the north, but as a military brat, moved to the south since I was 2. There's a difference between barbecuing and grilling. Barbecue is 12 plus hours with coals of hardwood or wood smoking. Grilling is cooking meat on a grill instead of the stove. The HOA put out a reminder, no barbecuing on the premises and no coals. So I was like, awesome, get a small propane grill. It's not barbecue, but it's better than nothing. So I was out grilling and I hear the banshee cry, all too familiar now. Again, she didn't come up to me and talk, she just started screaming. So I looked her right in the eye and with the same firm voice, "Shut the heck up and go away. If you say one more word, I'll be the one calling the cops for harassment by an HOA member." She sputtered something about no grilling or open flames, and I told her to mess off, show me in writing, and by someone other than her. She waddled off, and then I was approached by the HOA president with the HOA bylaws and sat to read them, during which my fiancé started a conversation with them about another issue we were having with them. She was in the middle of having the state attorney's office ask some questions about activities that they were trying to force her into paying for. It wasn't going well for the HOA, and she took this opportunity to introduce herself. While she may be non-confrontational when it comes to small things, she will stand up for herself when it comes to it. Her introducing herself changed everyone's tone, and they became oh so polite. Karen tried to play the victim to her and say that I was mean and could use some manners when engaging with people. I love my soon-to-be wife, and she let her paint her tale of how she was the victim. When she finished, she looked her dead in the eyes and said, "You know, I was the one holding the leash and I was standing right here when he was grilling. So, no, you got the same respect you gave." She paled and faded to the back, and that's when the president of the HOA stepped in and told me that I can't have the grill and that I can be fined and I needed to follow the rules of the HOA, or the next time, he'll be the one calling the cops. Well, President, roger that. It is my job to enforce regulations in the military. I spend hours reading instructions. Nothing pleases me more than when I can shove the black and white in an a-hole's face at work to get my guys what they are owed, or to force them to do the job right. So, you want me to follow the rules? Copy that, buddy. So I began my research, and I found a few interesting things. 1. No HOA bylaw can be enforced if it is not the state database. 2. This particular HOA's bylaws were last updated in 1994, and it was 2016. 3. They state that they follow my county's fire code, which follows NFPA. 4. Finally, the gem, the exact latitude and longitude coordinates of the HOA's property lines. So, I get a login for the state's database and print the HOA bylaws. I print the NFPA, which states in a multifamily home, you can store propane tanks no bigger than 2.7 liters, but they can total no more than 5.4 liters cumulatively. I go to Lowe's, get a rope tape measurer and stakes. I pull up Google Maps and mark the HOA boundary line on it. Lo and behold, what do I find? A drainage ditch that is city property not 10 feet from where I was grilling. So, I take my coordinates, my stakes, and go carefully mark off the section of city property. Now for the revenge. I call the city and county fire departments and request a permit to grill on said city property. They said, go for it. I didn't need a permit for it. No one would care. I insisted, and they said, it's my $50. They issued an event and open flame. So, with both permits, it was $100, but I got permission from the city to grill there for 6 months. The next day at 0700 hours, or 7 o'clock in the morning, I went to set up. I'm carefully measuring, so I was at least 3 feet into the city property. Set up my cooler with enough meat and beer to grill till doomsday. Then waited for the fireworks. It didn't take long for Karen to come screaming at me. I mean, I was 10 feet from the community pool and 3 feet from the sidewalk gazebo that led to the pool. I just hit record on my phone and politely told her that she has no need to yell and I am breaking no laws. She kept screaming about no grilling and how she is tired of me and she's going to get me arrested and kicked out if it's the last thing she does. She hasn't liked me since she saw me and has just been waiting to get me kicked out. That now she knows which condo is mine, it's just a matter of time till she finds something. On and on. I guess me being polite and showing zero fear was ticking her off. She tried to come and take my stuff. Big no-no. As she reached for my cooler, I broke out my NCO voice and told her that if she so much as brushes a finger against my property, I would remove the offending body part, with force if necessary. This sent her scurrying off again. About 20 minutes later, I see 2 cop cars pull up and Mr. HOA President himself. He is all chummy with the cops, and as they approach, I hear him say, "Yup, same guy. I already told him once before he can't grill on the HOA grounds." He comes to a stop about 10 feet from me. One cop stays with him, and the other keeps walking up to me. I have a crap-eating grin on my face. I can hardly wait for the conversation to happen. The cop is slightly off-put by my joyous face and slight giggle when I ask what seems to be the problem, officer. I get informed that I am in violation of the bylaws and have been warned once already, and I am going to receive a ticket for disturbing the peace for threatening the HOA when they were trying to enforce the rules, ticket for an illegal open flame, ticket for illegal storage of flammable substances, and on and on. The last was, if I didn't pack up, I would be arrested and removed. Now that he was done, I first handed him my permit from the city to grill. He took it, walked back to the president, and they discussed it for a moment, and then returned. Says, you can't get a permit from the city to grill on private property. I then showed him the coordinates for the HOA and the Google Maps gridded drawing and my current GPS location. Mind you, I'm smiling, handing sheet after sheet to him because the grid was not all on one sheet and had addendums. Took about 4 minutes to explain to him. As I was about to hand him more, he held up a hand to stop me. He then asked how long I had planned this with a smirk. I told him about a week, and he gave me a look of disbelief but moved on. He then asked me if I had threatened Karen. I just played back the recording to him, and then at the end he said nothing seems out of place here, you're free to go. I stopped him and asked if I could file a complaint for HOA harassment through him. He said no, that the city clerk office is the correct place, but he would document harassment by the two of them and file the report for me. In my state, it's illegal to be harassed by the HOA. It comes with jail of a few months, fines as high as $5,000, and immediate removal from the board, and the possibility of recovery of damages. I settled for them both being removed from the board instead of filing a complaint. I wave to Karen every day that I grill or show her my leash if I had O. Aw man, there's nothing greater than ProRevenge in which you do your research and set them in their place. By the way, for every new subscriber that comes to this channel, one Karen gets put in her place. So if you like these stories and you want to help the fight against Karens, please do your part and subscribe to the channel. The world and mankind will thank you. Oh, that was fun. Never mess with the grannies. Pro dog crap revenge with karma. Hosted by Kookabannis. This is a story from the distant past when I was a kid. Early 80s Australia. My family lived in suburban Townsville then. We had a fairly tight-knit community on our street and all generally got along well. Our neighbor on the right side was a lovely old lady. I have no idea what her name was, but us kids all called her Gran. She was a tough old bird, lived in the bush all her life, and had a real no-nonsense attitude. On our left side was a block of 2 flats with tenants that seemed to come and go all the time. At this particular time, there was a middle-aged woman and her 2 kids. This woman, as I recall, was a bit of a witch and had a real better-than-you attitude. No idea what her name was, but we'll refer to her as Karen, because it fits. Now, Gran loved her garden and was always working in it. She grew beautiful flowers. Her garden was always kept in perfect condition and was essentially what kept her going in her old age. The local kids were welcome in her garden, just as long as we did not make a mess. Karen, on the other hand, loved her dog. It was some poodle cross thing and an ugly mutt in my opinion. Unlike the rest of our dogs, it was not allowed to roam the streets and play with the kids, but was kept inside except for the daily walk each morning on a leash. I bet you can see where this is heading. One morning, we heard sounds of an argument coming from Gran's front yard. Apparently, Karen had decided to help herself to some of Gran's flowers while walking the dog. When told off by Gran, she decided to insult Gran's garden, which was a very bad mistake. So the two exchanged words before Karen stalked off. We thought that was that, until Gran started to find dog crap in her yard every day. Every day. As most of our dogs roam the street, she could not say it was happening deliberately, just that it was strange that the dogs had avoided the place, until now. Then we find out that Karen has changed her routine and was walking her dog at dawn each day. My dad spotted her as he was going to work, and of course Karen was using the opportunity to have her dog take a dump on Gran's lawn. When Gran found out, she was furious. I was at school at the time, so I did not see it, but Mom recounted the events. Apparently, Gran had taken a garden trowel of dog crap and gone over to Karen's door where she had told Karen that she would rub your face in the next dog crap I see on the lawn. Karen responded with a tirade of abuse and then slammed the door before Gran threw the crap at her. So the stage is set. On to Act 2. Scene: early Saturday morning. We were woken by screams at daybreak. It sounded like there was an almighty fight happening at Gran's place. All the neighbors rushed out to the most amazing scene ever. In Gran's front yard, on the lawn, lay Karen face down, with Gran perched astride her back. One hand on the back of Karen's neck, and the other hand with a firm grip on Karen's hair as she rubbed her face back and forth through a nice fresh dog crap. Karen was screaming bloody murder between gasping for breath and spitting out grass and crap. Gran was shouting, "I warned you, I bloody warned you, you stupid witch." So it turns out the cunning old girl knew Karen was too stupid to take a warning, so she had got up early so she could lay in wait and then ambush Karen in the garden. Karen was never the same again. She moved out in less than a week. The best laugh I think I ever had. Never mess with the grannies, folks. Oh wow, she did it. She literally did it. Sent a message, Karen would never be the same, and I bet you she never made that mistake again. But then again, she's a Karen, so hey, you never know. She probably did. Be sure to comment the secret phrase below, "Eat dirt," because that's totally what Karen did. My name's Austin. Check out another video here, and I'll see you there.